This is WCAU TV Channel 10 Philadelphia. It's 6 o'clock. WCAU TV Philadelphia. Now, Ken Metz, James Roble, Herb Club, and Helmets Sword. This is Channel 10 News. Good evening, everybody on this Friday, January 21st, 1994. I'm James Roble, alongside Ken Metz News. What's happening on Channel 10 News? Our top story at 6 p.m. is why so cold? Why it's been so cold in the Midwest and East? It's because of high altitude winds that blow in the weather that have been encountered in atmosphere shore sign. At the same time, some parts of the West have been unusually warm. Earthwatch weather reporter Herb Clark is in our newsroom. Here is what is happening. Herb, well, we leave inside from the frigid weather. Extra plane that cold on a ridge of high pressure that for the past week or so has stood over western United States and Canada like a boulder in a stream. It has forced the unusually eastbound jet stream from the Pacific to go around it. That means that rather than flowing generally eastward across the United States, the jet stream has run up the western side of the pressure ridge in Canada. Then it has come back to the eastern side of the ridge and flowed into the midwestern and northeastern United States. On its journey, it has picked up some unwelcome passengers. Our air masses are originated in Siberia instead of western United States, said Gerald Moeller, a meteorologist with AccuWeather, private weather forecasting service in St. College, Pennsylvania. Not only do those air masses start out cold, but you can't add any warmth. Mueller said there's no chance for the typical moderating influence that a warmer air from the Pacific Ocean not have the Siberian bats picked up any warmth from the floating over the bare ground weather than snow. And the Great Lakes, which normally adds some warmth to the cold air flowing into the northeast, are so cold themselves that they have helping. Mueller said, we have been able to get Arctic air masses in the essentially pure form, said meteorologist Fred Chemosky of the Penn State University. The result, at least 15 places of brook tide cold weather records on one end and another Thursday, but in the west, some areas have been record warmth. Their air masses are coming in from the south central Pacific. Mueller and recognized have been recorded from New Mexico to Montana, and crop kisses are coming up in 2 weeks early in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where we reached a record about 61 degrees. Wednesday, the wind pattern now and affecting cold areas appears periodically some brutally cold winters in the late 70s and early 80s, said Steve Watson of the National Weather Service. Obviously, when it does set up, everybody noticed it, he said. Kenoski stressed that something new has not happened in weather. People always get nervous and the weather may be going haywire. Mueller said that the northeast and the Midwest will be out of the deep freeze and back to near normal temperatures by the end of the weekend. There, and all that weather in a little bit. Here on Channel 10 News. There, Ken. Thank you. Thank you, Herb. The temperature has gone up and roads are being cleared of the ice, but motorists are now face another problem. Some service stations in the area have run out of gasoline. For example, Boston. Or were running out of it during the deep freeze because icy roads kept gasoline supply trucks from reaching them. We're out of gas since Wednesday afternoon, said Brad Kuehler, manager of the Cross Keys mobile station in Georgia Township on Thursday. And not as much storm there. It has been pretty bad out there. The Getty gasoline station at Route 202 and Bristol Road in Chalfont still had gasoline on Thursday afternoon, but it was running close to empty, according to Memphis manager John Linsberry. The Getty representative called us this morning and said the trucks just can't get out. Linsberry said we're going to run out of regular gas within the next day. At the Swartley gas station in Quakertown, the gasoline ran out for about an hour at the beginning of the ice storm, according to manager Kevin Smith. The trucks had trouble getting out of our main office in Sellersville, he said on Thursday. However, as roads became more passable within a high temperature reaching 15, the station had the gas it needed. The State Department of Transportation conceded only Mother Nature had the power to uncover the asphalt. What you see on the roads is basically what you get until temperatures warm up, said Carl Tosi, a finance manager for the Bucks County office of the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. There's not a lot we can do, said Tosi. The weather has us in grips now, and we are going to have to wait until it gets a little warmer. There's nothing we can do to get the patches of ice of snow cleared. Penn DOT's focus since Wednesday has been to put down anti-skid material to give drivers some traction as they slowly travel the area's highways and byways. The anti-skid material is great little for after rock quarry process stone and grout, according to Edwin Akey, assistant maintenance manager for Penn DOT in Doylestown. We'll probably run the same game plan until the weather changes. Terry Ruggles, Channel 10 News. More than 100 deaths are claimed so far on the record cold weather that has bettered much of the nation since late last weekend. Most area banks were expected to stay open for their normal business hours today to cash paychecks and conduct their own business. Some were hedging their bets. Stay out of the way of the plows. Crews will be out all night and treating the roads and plowing. this is a place. This is home, and this Milford Township woman returned home from work to discover a house fire that killed her 86-year-old father. Milford Fire Chief James R. Riff said Erwin Wilton died at the Wednesday fire at 2920 Allentown Road. Luxon was apparently overcome by smoke. The chief said firefighters found him in bed at autopsy Thursday to determine he died from smoke inhalation. However, Jean Donahue, the victim's daughter, was at work when the fire broke out. She returned to the blaze where she came home about 10 p.m. Ruth said the fire started in Luxon's bedroom. Fire damage was limited on the bedroom, but the entire 1.5-story wood frame house was smoke damaged. But he said he did not know where Donahue was living now. Bucks County Assistant Fire Marshal Nicholas Rafferty said the blaze was caused by an electric short circuit in the clock radio on the bedroom dresser. Rafferty said there was a working smoke alarm home, but not in the victim's bedroom. They made a difference most people don't think they have. One in the bedroom where fires often start. 2 firefighters were treated at Quakertown Community Hospital for minor injuries received in the fire. Ruth's son Michael and firefighter Joe Lennon, who said his son received second-degree facial burns where the mask and he was rushed. Shouldn't the flames was caused by the intense heat. Lennon received the man and back injury lift in the ladder. Ruff said Ruff, when we arrived, the heavy smoke was coming out of the house and flames were coming in out of the first floor bedroom in the rear. The chief said Luxon was able to get around, but had arthritis and may have been on medication. 60 to 70 firefighters from the Milford Township and Shelley Fire Company responded to the blaze. Also on the scene were 2 ladder trucks from Quakertown, water tanks from Sillersville, Richland Town, Shelley, and Lower Milford, 1 engine from Coopersburg, Upper Sawson, and Trumbersville, and the Lifestar Ambulance Service. Bill Baldini, Channel 10 News, Milford Township.
Entrance, exit ramps, those are going to be really tricky. Very slick conditions out there. We've got that snow blanketing the road.
He was surprised by police in Buckingham nearly on escape flying bullets and Homey Bill and fled with a witness on his heels after robbing a bank in Benslem. He left his calling card in a car full of stolen goodies and has been tracked by police all the way to the Motel 6 in Mapleshade, New Jersey. But the suspect, 42-year-old Thomas Weber Wishin, continues to elude authorities despite by a major effort by law enforcement of 4 days in 4 counties. The man is one-man crime wave sent Benslem Police Captain Jack Robinson. He was pulled 2 more bank robberies this week, and we're still looking for him, and began Monday. And in November, police said when Wisconsin bought a 67 Plymouth Verline in 1987 blue model, what followed, police alleged, was a series of burglaries at homes across Bexley and Montgomery counties. In early December, Buckingham Township Police got a break in the case when they suspected and surprised the man they suspected was Wisconsin during a burglary, according to police. He fled leaving in blue 1987 Plymouth Verline inside the car. Police said they found identification bearing in his name and item stolen in several previous burglaries. Later, police learned that a suspect stole a Volvo station wagon during an upper Merrifield burglary. That same car was described as driven by a burglar who broke into the home's build. Home and Crest, Mississippi. Police said during that break-in, the homeowner didn't ask questions. He pulled out a .38 caliber handgun and fired several rounds of the suspect. From there, police said that the suspect quickly graduated from burglary to bank robbery as 3 bank houses were added to police of his crimes resumed. Benslem Detective James Conner said Wisconsin walked into the PNC Bank at the Woodhaven Mall, wrote to a note to tell president he had a gun and left the bank with $2,245. Richard, as a passing shopper watched the suspect leave the bank and followed him to Philadelphia. Before losing, the suspect witnesses copied down the last state plate number on the Volvo station wagon he was chasing. This week, Conner said Wisconsin as the same man who robbed the bank Monday in Plymouth Township and Thursday in the bank at next and Woodhaven Roads in Philadelphia. Conner said that his total take in the 3 has made at more than $8,000. In each case, the suspect ended with a note when she held a gun, although no weapon was displayed. It would be foolish to assume he was not armed, Conner said, explaining that he was charged in Benslem in 1987 with a knife-point robbery.
Meaning rebooking can take days. He has this advice for travelers.
Pack light, carry on, try to get out in advance, and if not, if you can hold up.
Preliminary tests on what was hoped to be a critical clue in a Warminster's brutal video store stabbing have brought only more discouraging news for law enforcement officers. And conclusive was the word Bucks County District Attorney Alan M. Rubenstein used this break to describe an needle analysis of human tissue on a small stud earring found at the crime scene. 2 20-year-old video store clerks, Sean Campbell and Brian G. Benz, were stabbed to death on a November night when they were taken in orders working in the store. The test on the hearing provided no information law enforcement and officers can use. Rubenstein said he hoped that the test of police would give But he's a 90 sex racer of a characteristic an assault England. A 40 suspected in a killer and an coming in lost the earring during the struggle with Benson and Campbell. Ramstein said the second round of genetic will take about 3 weeks, but he called them about a shot in the dark. The inconclusive test results continue the frustrating part in an investigation of 7 deaths, which has said that the police had continued detectives following up leads that go nowhere. Everything comes up as Stonewall. Ramstein said there was a lot of misinformation, rumor, and speculation, but there's nothing solid. One of employees at the Naval Air Warfare Center and its contractors moved to Warminster in 1996. They will be leaving one polluted military site for another, the Naval Air Warfare Center in Patuxent River, Maryland, where the Warminster operations will be considered. He had proposed for the national profit. For these lists, the Environmental Protection Agency supervised roster the most severely polluted place in the nation. One of the chemicals polluting Patuxent River Hill said is trichloroethylene, one of the same cancer-related substances which is present in residential wells in Warminster. The EPA's proposal to list Patuxent River as a result of revisions in the way that detects hazardous polluted site, according to a statement released by the Navy Air Warfare Center. Captain Roger Hill, commanding officer at the NAWC Patuxent River, said that the new standards are more stringent, but environmental conditions at 7200-acre base are improving them, not worsening. He said the Maryland installation of the official wording in this pollution problem released in a statement on Wednesday is that most of the significant sites of the environmental concern are already undergoing restriction and do not pose an immediate threat. Said Hill, he are not going to need the new environmental initiatives at all. He emphasized that the chemicals have not reached well-level groundwater in the area. It must be great to be a kid right now in Montgomery and Bucks counties and Delaware Valley with school doors essentially frozen shut. Right? Not exactly. They're bouncing off walls. Said Warminster resident Jane Mahan and her sons John 15, Joy 9, and Sean 8. I told them if I don't behave, they have to clean the house. Mahan said she has brought their boys, all students at Nativity of our Lord School in Warminster, to the West Coast Video Store in Warminster every day. Since their school is closed because of bad weather, the weather is keeping schools in the area closed again today. On Thursday, 3 boys chose both movies and video games. Weekend 6 to 8 so far since they've been home, Mahan said. Ken Strickland, employee at the West Coast Video Store in Doylestown and Clemens Mark. Kid said, we just mentioned S-word. Snow and people immediately go out to the store and get milk, eggs, bread when they come in the video store. It's a necessity. John Ackert, 15, a student at LaSalle High School, walks 3 miles from home in Doylestown and West Coast Video because his mother will not drive any ice roads. Being cooped up in the house with his mother, brother, and also his sister, he left him rest. So there's one reason I agreed to do. The bowling lanes at Doylestown lanes were filled with school-age children and their parents on Thursday. The Heavily and the Mullen family went bowling Thursday afternoon way to get the kids out of the house. Since the storm started Monday, the weather has kept the children inside. It's the first time out, said Heavily on Doylestown. I'll kill time Heaven said she's baking cookies with her children aged 7 and 4, watching a lot of movies and working on Cub Scout projects.
The driver of the black sedan is charged with failing to stop at a stop sign and to grant the right way to an emergency.
President Clinton in Washington and his wife should be questioned under oath in a part of an investigation in Arkansas. Land deals newly appointed special counsel Robert B. Fisk Jr. said Thursday. Clinton denied. And the quote, I didn't do anything wrong in Obama's corporation, whatever he wants to do, Clinton said of Fisk during an appearance by the president on CNN and Larry King Live. Asked about the Fisk plan to stick the Clinton statements under oath, White House Press Secretary D.D. Meyer said he hasn't done it yet. Well, deal with it when it comes. Fisk, a former Republican U.S. attorney, said he was prepared to go flat on the investigation in support of our country to get this done and to get it done so quickly as fairly and fairly responsible, Fisk said. Senate Republican leader Bob Dole, who has asked for such an appointment, said it would not stop Congressional Committee from their own investigation, but he pulled back from earlier calls for establishment of a special investigating panel. Fisk said he planned to speak directly to the president with his wife. Hillary Rodham Clinton is part of this effort. I would certainly expect that before this investigation is over, and I would be questioned both the president and the first lady, and that would be under oath. Fisk said. Fisk comes board on board a pending Justice Department investigation in the land deals that touches on Clinton as part of the probe. Arkansas Governor Jim Guy Tucker received a federal grand jury subpoena requesting the turnover of business records. Housing managers in Warminster had restored heat to some 200 families Wednesday and Thursday, but expected to see lose them heat again last night. Outdoor oil tanks says the lines of the heights meant jelly oil, which would not flow a first, second. Tina Lawrence Meyer, president of the Warminster Heights Homeowners Association, families began losing heat early Wednesday. By 5 p.m. on Thursday, only 5 families with fat heat, but water pipes are over. Homes have been frozen. Persistent frigid temperatures probably would freeze all the oil lines again, he said. Hopefully, Mayor said Thursday it would be easier tonight, but I doubt it. In Pittsburgh, her priest described her as a stunning, but Natalie Bursick ventured outside in slippers on a closed night of the year. Ignoring her brother's advice, she retrieved an IRS text form and another odds and ends from her mailbox, then fell in her driveway 10 feet from an open garage door in the Pittsburgh suburb of West Mifflin. By the neighbor's account, Miss Bursick lay for at least 45 minutes in a 5 degrees below zero. The 81-year-old widow, retired mill worker and garden enthusiast, died shortly after she was found early Tuesday evening. I knew that after I told her not to get her mail, she'd go after I anyway. I told her just to stay inside, her brother Paul Costco said Thursday. She's been in real bad shape and it's been real hard for her to even get out of her chair because of her back. Neighbor Jane Kenny noted that Miss Bursick's garage door was open from 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. and when sent a visitor Ron Keller to investigate. He found her and covered her with blankets and tried to warm her with a hairdryer. Neighbors said Miss Bursick was wearing a winter coat, dress, and slippers, and clutching envelopes in her step fingers. She was alive when we got there. I stopped when she was breathing and said, "Natalie, can you hear me?" And she groaned. The killer told the Daily News of McKeesport. Paramedic Craig McDivitt said Miss Bursick's pulse had dropped to 40 beats per minute. Her arms and legs were frozen stiff and her feet were purple-gray when she was loaded into an ambulance. She died of hypothermia at Jefferson Hospital. A Pittsburgh doctor said elderly people lose the ability to sense temperature changes as their nerve endings fail, and they have where involuntary reactions such as shivering. Older people might not realize how cold they are, and they won't cover accordingly, said Dr. Ann Newman at King General Hospital. And if there was some reason like arthritis, they can't move around like this. They're unable to raise their body temperature to where they should be. Costco Duquesne visitor typically fetched their mail, but it had arrived. When he left her at noon Tuesday afternoon spending the night, he said he recently offered to buy her a walker to replace her cane, but she refused. On Thursday, Smith prepared her as a dress for Miss Bursick's funeral Saturday. He said he would mention in Bible verses Luke 24:13-85 that depicted Miss Bursick's companion on her living room and the wall. In the picture, Jesus showed 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus. Mrs. Bursick immigrated to the United States from Russia in 1920, worked in a tin sorter at the Continental Can Company in West Mifflin. She had lived alone in her house since her husband George died in 1968. Audubon, Pennsylvania, Jim McLaughlin sat in a pit at the PJ and Power Pool headquarters watching the silver needle on demand meter rise. He plotted the current demand for electricity on his graph and realized he was in short supply. He trained. For emergencies like this, he'd done this drills, but the witness was real. At about 3 a.m. on Wednesday, his monograph day shift workers had prepared for Milton. And million on electricity to more than 21 million people in 5 states was off the mark, way off. You have to understand, said John Quadrick, an analyst in the performance department in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland interconnection. This is something we haven't experienced before. We didn't have to follow any charts to follow. If McLaughlin, this shift supervisor, and their 3 other overnight workers didn't act fast, the customers, 11 power companies, PJM would get up in the morning, and he left in the cold. They got on the phones. They closed deals, broken early in the day. 200 megawatts of electricity from New York, some from New England, some from Ontario. They checked the power plants at the PJM power pool to make sure all were pumping out as much energy they could. After shorting up the additional energy they found, they're still being short of the morning demand. They would mean whole sectors of the states will go black. We were facing a severe emergency. McLaughlin telephoned in his boss at home. He would up a few other people, including the president, assistant, not such a heat wave that was nice to say one had such a drastic measures been needed. Okay, Earthwatch weather forecast here now is Herb Clock. Thank you, Ken and Jane. Right now, current conditions at 6 p.m. onwards, it's 19 degrees is our temperature here at Philadelphia International Airport. Now has dropped to 18 degrees with wind chill about 8 degrees with a dew point about 3 degrees. Humidity 52%, barometer 3.46 inches, visibly 50 miles per hour. Winds west now for about 8 condition, mostly cloudy skies. Okay, let's take a look at our current conditions. Area temps. It's 18 in the northeast, 19 in Wilmington, Delaware, 15 in Trenton, New Jersey, 19 in Newark, New Jersey, 19 in LaGuardia and New York City, 21 in JFK Airport, 18 in Jackson, 19 in Vineland, 17 in Wildwood, 20 in Atlantic City, 16 in Dover, Delaware, 11 in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, 11 out in Williamsport, 14 in Reading, 17 in Harrisburg, 13 in Allentown, Bethlehem, 14 in Lancaster, and 19 in Baltimore, and 19 in Washington, D.C. Alright, let's take a look at our national forecast. It shows sunny skies And still cold for much of the East Coast. Sunny in the podcast skies for much of the southeastern states. Raining in much of southeastern to southern Texas. High pressure center in western Kentucky intensity but cold. Chillier but still cold for much of the East Coast. High pressure with sunny skies. Dominating the southwest with some warm temperatures. Sunny in the podcast skies for much of the northern Rockies and a big station from Saskatchewan stretching all the way up down to the western Dakotas, down for the Rockies and down for Texas. They're bringing all the rainy weather down to southern Texas. And a cold front off the Washington, Oregon coastline here.
And it is currently almost 30 degrees colder than it was 24 hours ago. And when it's this cold...
Sunrise tomorrow morning about 7:16 a.m. Moonrise tomorrow afternoon 12:49 p.m. and moonset today 2:53 a.m. Bristol low tide 6:24 p.m. and Atlantic City 7:24 p.m. Air quality not available due to snow emergency. So weather for the night will be pot cloudy, clear toward daybreak, low about 15 to 20 degrees. And for Saturday, it is going to be pot sunny skies high about 32 to 35, low about 20 degrees. And for Sunday will be pot skies high about 33 degrees. Monday sunny skies high about 42 degrees, and Tuesday and Wednesday sunny to pot in the most skies high. Tuesday and Wednesday 45 degrees. So moderating temperatures will begin on Monday and Tuesday. A break from the extremely chill. Okay, thank you, Ken and
Great advice there. By the way,
Jane. Okay, thank you, Herb. All right, sports time here now. Al Meltzer. Thank you, Ken and Jane and Herb. Camden, New Jersey. Camden County officials elected and filled by the 76ers owner Harold Katz to a nervous groom have suspended talks to and moved the team to Camden. The action announced Wednesday that came after county officials that they had learned that Katz was continuing to negotiate with his current landlord, Ed Snyder, about keeping his team at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. We will not negotiate on anything other than an exclusive basis, said County Freeholder Director Vincent F. Sarubi. We don't want to see Camden County interested in a use of the bargaining chip. Katz has seen that he said he wanted to move the NBA team to Camden, but stopped short of ruling not staying in Philadelphia. A spokesman for Spectator, which Bridge the Spectrum, confirmed negotiations have been going with Katz, but refused to elaborate. Last week, county officials began talking with Katz after then Governor-elect Christie Whitman scuttled the state plan to build an 18,000-seat arena on the Delaware River. The county said that it would be try to reach a deal to build a joint venture without state backing. After several meetings, Ruby said both sides have made significant progress on the deal. He said that those efforts suffered a setback when the county learned Katz was negotiating remain at the Spectrum. Tomorrow night, the 76ers will be at the Spectrum taking on Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic here.
Costa Rica, or a week with some sweaty football players in Hawaii. I think Tom made the right choice.
In New York, 2 days after saying that a vote that would be taken to decide in the matter, U.S. figure skating officials backed off Thursday on polling members about whether to keep Tanya Harding on the Olympic team. Some kind of advisory ballot still could be taken, the U.S. Figure Skating Agency Association said, but first it would have to be tailored to fit the limits of the federal law that governs the Olympic sports. The law provides for formal notice and a hearing before an athlete can be moved. And meanwhile, the U.S. Olympic Committee said there were no deadline to determine Harding's team status. We don't have a timetable. I talked this morning with Jay Lace, USFSA Executive Director, to see if any new information was there. The answer on both sides said no. Howard W. Schiller said the U.S. OC Executive Director rosters for the Lillehammer Winter Games to start February 12th must be submitted on January 31st, but the skating lineup can be changed up until February 21st, 2 days before the women's competition begins. USFSA President Claire Ferguson said Thursday that the ballots would be sent to the Federation's 45-member International Committee next week for recommendations on whether Harding the national championship should remain on the team, even though her ex-husband, bodyguard, and two associations have been charged with allegedly planning an attack on skating rival Nancy Kerrigan. The committee picked both Harding and Kerrigan, who was unable to compete in the United States Figure Skating Championship this month, after being struck on the right knee by a metal club for the Lillehammer team in Detroit. But on Thursday, a skating federation said a mistake in communications that led Ferguson to announce the vote and that no polling was set. He steps on the runway and skates on the ice quickly and confidently, but from the bounce on the step, one could never guess the goaltender is on a 3-game losing streak and that he was pulled from his last start. A year ago, that might not have been the case. It was
helping them achieve those dreams.
Season that Mike Richter, a native of Florida town, would be. Never forget the New York Rangers went from first to 192 overall to worst to 92-93 in the division, and a lot of failing fell on his shoulders. He having spent some time in the minors and finished a dismal 13-19-3 record. At the debacle had to take an emotional toll, and Rick during the cap stops about his future with a Broadway blue shirt. But all that seems like this memory when I was Richard prepares to take on the Flyers. New York. Bill White plans to resign as National League president. Baseball officials said Thursday, and Northwestern University president Arnold Weber withdrew his name from consideration as commissioner. White and Upper Black Eddie resident who took over from A. Butler Giamatti on April 1st, 1999 is the highest ranked Kim Black official in professional sports. He's been unhappy with his job for several years. Although his term was ended nearly 11 months ago, he gradually agreed to stay until successor was found. White reached his home Thursday night, wouldn't say if his departure was an admission and refused to elaborate. I resigned on March 1st, 1993, he said, a reference to his original expiration day in the team. Officials speaking on the condition they not mean in fact said White has angered the power of the league presidents vastly reduced under restriction and report adopted on Wednesday. Instead of being solely responsible to owners in the league presidents will be responsible to the commissioner who will be at the power to hire them. Then White's attempt to eliminate these changes will be defeated on Wednesday. Santa Clara, California. The Dallas Cowboys will have more to the defense than the president Steve Young and the receiver Jerry Rice when they play the San Francisco 49ers in Sunday's NFC Championship game. Ricky Waters served. Notice that the 49ers can run to it. I think they respect Ricky now because Ricky had a great game last week. Rick said. End of the day, tried to close down the running game. That's really going to open it up to the passing game. So I feel like we have been a balanced attack now. Waters playing in his first full game since spraining his right knee December 5th win for 118 yards and a playoff record for 5 touchdowns in last Saturday 44-3 win over the New York Giants. He also had a team high 5 receptions for 46 yards. He has a great back, said Emmitt Smith. His counterpart at Dallas said he can do a little bit of everything. He can run the ball effectively. He can catch it all. He can block. He does it all. Raiders will finish 50 yards shy for the second straight 1,000-yard season. Doesn't have the numbers that Smith the league's rushing championship the past 3 seasons, but he is also used differently on the 49ers' diversified attack. If you take the Ricky from the offense and Ricky and said himself, it's only a piece of the puzzle. 49ers got Guy McIntyre said our game fun is in the middle round. Ricky said it was Dallas for Emmitt. And when the 49ers played Dallas in October, Waters says split up. I'll put it in motion for his wide receiver.
And the amounts of forecasting is that. Now, I'm not going to underscore it, but
Orchard Park, New York. The Buffalo Bills came left when they went to the hurry-up offense. They just haven't been getting where they went in a hurry recently. While the Bills are the only NFL team this season not to be hindered by the 42nd play clock. No, huddle attack hasn't been rolling over opponents. The Bills haven't used it exclusively either, but the Kansas City Chiefs are preparing for the large doorstep of a no huddle. In Sunday's AFC Championship game, the hurry-up offense, Fisher said, Chiefs quarterback Jay Taylor said, that's 80% of the offense you just play in a 2-minute mode the whole game. Where the 2-minute game is usually the shortest part of your game. Now becomes the majority, that's all it is. The idea to not necessarily confuse the defense as much as you get you tired, cause you to make a mistake. We played it well last time as the game goes on, you'll get into the screws on defense just like the offense. Several times in this season, particularly in the 23-7 loss in Kansas City on November 28th, the Bills never got in a groove. They were only 43 yards and had 4 turnovers. The Chiefs blanked them for the final 53 minutes and 56 seconds. That's the only way they like to put back and not look at. Bills quarterback Jim Kelly said it was our bad play and that it got us in trouble. Ever since I played against the Chiefs, it was always a game that we won it. We had to be a top-notch day. Neil Smith and Dirk Thomas says, as quick as you'll find.
Including $250 instant savings.
As pass rushers, they key to the game is slow down around. They key for the Chiefs is the same slow down and hurry up. That means strong pressure on Kelly, just like they got on Houston Warren Moon last week. But when the Oilers yielded 9 sacks, but Buffalo's offensive line is healthy while Houston was banged up. Keeping Thomas under control, he had only about 25 yards rushing and 44 receiving in the first game. But as Kansas City safety Kevin Ross said, Thomas is one of the all-time great running backs, and you don't stop him too often. Aggressive work by a secondary featuring 2 stars in Russell Lewis and with some depth, but also not nearly as good as group as the Chiefs had several years ago. Controlling the ball, the Bills realize the Chiefs have represented a handle of the assignment. That positive effect to all in the way around. Bills All-Pro defensive end Bruce Smith said they have a huge offensive line that he done an outstanding job. They have the very speedy wide receivers of all. The Marcus Allen, one of the all-time backs in the NFL. He brings a lot of experience, character, and leadership. Look what they did at Houston. They kept them simple, they kept them off bounds with a 3-5 step drops, which doesn't allow an outside rusher to come around the critical lot. I'm not looking forward to playing against them. The Bills hardly were on offensive juggernaut this season, but they moved the ball well in the last 2 games. They seem to have recaptured the rhythm and the know-how. And that is going to be it for the Channel 10 News, the 6 p.m. one on this Friday, January 21st, 1994. I'm Peter Woods. If you have Ken Matz, alongside Jamie Roble and Herb Clark, and Al Meltzer. Have a good evening. Coming next will be CBS Evening News with Dan Raver. We'll be back for the Channel 10 News at 11 p.m. Have a good evening.